This is day 1281 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Tonight, tonight, a few minutes ago, at 7 a.m. Friday morning Israel time, the ceasefire broke, and Am Yisrael is back at war and betrayal with our enemies in Gaza, Machshman, Zichram. May our learning of Arukh HaShulchan be a schus for the Yeshua of the soldiers, the hostages, and Klal Yisrael. Today we're doing Yodea Siman Kuf Tzadik Beis Sif Aleph Teches. No, sorry. Today we're doing that's tomorrow. Today Yodea Kuf Tzadik Aleph Lamed Aleph Lamed Zayin. Okay. Lamed Aleph. So the we're talking about here, of course, there's still the issue of urination and the blood coming from the makar, or coming together with the urine from the bladder or from the kidney, and a bdika afterwards. In terms of checking where the blood might have come from. There's also only when she's feeling of pain. Meaning, the low tema b'dika zumas gam below cave. Don't say this b'dika works even without a pain. When it's found on the b'dika afterwards, the body in a will is not effective. Then he says, she found blood on her urine, and also the some say she's some say she's when you find the urine and blood together, there's machlokas. Therefore, to the Mekilim, b'dika works. But according to those also, in this scenario, b'dika doesn't work. And he adds on and says, "Miu ein tzarich livdok chulei." Even though some machim are both together, ein tzarich livdok b'kinuach achar atola b'dam. You don't have to check after wiping after the urination with blood. That we should. We don't have to, we don't require it to wipe. Maybe there'll be a blood also on the kinuach. So I guess if you see it together, you don't necessarily check. Because if you check and you find blood on the b'dika cloth, you're going to have a problem. She knows when she finds blood. She's got to check. 3 times she checked the kinuach and she fed the wiping and found the Torah. She no longer has to check. And the bracket says here, should be a shakish. So explain that real this way. Is she never going to be tummy below dika without checking? We smoke we can rely on the rely on it 3 times. At the time of Veset, there's certainly a great chashash that the blood is coming out of Meir Raglayim. That's what she has to check all those times for Duke, but not other times. Okay, Lamed Beis. Od Kosav. The Rama also writes, "In Ein Regila, the Rosh Hashanah Perkim. She only sees occasionally Kavas Leveses Imru with their Keva. She can make a vessel to see with urination. Bein Beses Shove, Bein Beses Lugim. Whether it's an equal vessel or one which skips. Imena Motzadam Achakach Shabadek Satzmam. She only finds. She doesn't find blood afterwards. She checks itself for crotting, just little grains. Kamal Chatzat Sodom, like with sand and red pebbles. She finds a source in the urine. Whereas the time of her veset, the actual cycle, she sees actual blood like other women. Ve'ena Matzesa so chol. Rakachar Meraglan. She only finds the sand after she urinates. Torah she started the Eno Dam. Rak chol. It's not blood, only sand. Shadarkali Valley because which normally happens in the kidneys. I guess the kidney stones manifest that way. Lam Gimel, B'Yudvara, means to say the Kabbalah Shem according to below cave, below Yitir, Chachami, Rak Badam, Shemei Raglayim, below Abdiko Bachakach. What he said before, without pain, Chacham only matter if you find the blood in Mei Raglayim and not in the Bdika afterwards. K'moshi's bar, as we explained, Lezelo Mahani, Kam Abdiko Shum Moch, therefore the Bdika doesn't work even with Lesumachim to put a tampon in, K'mosh Biarnu. The form in Sif Chapav and the latter in Sif Lam and Aleph. That says him any lost like about Kim, which only sees occasionally. Klamaropa means Shabodekas Atzma, Archashtona Nikia. Most times she checks herself after urinating, she is clean. Only occasionally she finds blood on the Bdika Shachashtona after the urination. The dam say, that blood we say comes from the cervix. So that's why she's covered by like other times she's blood. Where it's a vessel equal vessel from 20 to 20, or from 20 to 30 to 30, etc. Also skipping vessel from 20 to 21, 21 to 22, etc. Kamashulon comes to us low time which means a riyah. We don't say since it's not a clear cut riyah. Lo nechushlo, we're not going to be concerned that ksheinu vessel shaveh when it's not a precise vessel. Kamashulon cheshish. Really, the Mekom Kameno cares vessels haboru sheyesh lo b'riyas domim. She doesn't two ways her other vessels, which is the normal seeing of blood. Because mamish. Vessel says she's got two vessels now. The echnomash vessels zetakor vessel. We said with this vessel, that's with urination, going to uproot the vessels of a normal seeing blood. People say the blood which you find blood, we assume that it comes from the we can assume comes from the urine, which is bar. So therefore, it can't be a vessel to uproot the other vessel because maybe it's not and maybe it's not dam need at all. Well, it can have to machmer sometimes, but maybe it's not dam need. Film and meir line. Even if the urine there's no blood, only when you wipe and then you can say, sure it's needed blood. Because everybody agrees that she's tummy. No, we call is the best nearly born to occurs. Doesn't uproot the best is the chumra vade is the hushkam ba'oifen zeh who touts their gleim. It is something which comes from the urine and not for so here it's a chumra to assume it comes from the orifice of the urine, and not from the cervix. Urethra, I think it's called. I think the orifice of the urine is called the urethra. Then he says he doesn't find blood. Rotin, just granules, probably a better term. You find these granules also in her urine. Even though we determine that when she sees blood in her urine and also in the bedika afterwards, in both, we have to macher, like we saw earlier in the similar Chasiv Chavzayin. The bedika afterwards, it's not actual blood, but rather granules like sand, and red pebbles. She has the vessels of actually seeing. It's okay, we can make a motion to find that also in the urine. This is sand from the kidneys and not from the blood. We made two conditions. That she sees the granules also in the urine. Otherwise, she has the status of a woman who sees peels and hairs. She's by Sim Kupeches, which is explained Sim Kupeches, Sif Ein Gimel. These are actually so because if it was actually sand from the kidneys, why don't you find it in the urine? Also, she has to have another vessel. The second condition is that she has to have another vessel of actually seeing blood. Located because otherwise it means she said that she's blood with dry blood. We don't connect it to the sand the sand to the kidneys. Since she doesn't have another riyah of actual blood. Nearly b'zeh ein nafkamina. This makes no difference. She sees actual blood together with these granules. Says do the opinions which explains about blood of urine. Regardless, in a big afterwards it can't be blood. Only the granules. She doesn't have to put the granules in water. They also to see if they dissolve. We just assume they come from the sand in the kidneys. Even if they dissolve in the water, we're not concerned. It's from the Shach. We'll laugh on the contrary. If she doesn't find granules in the urine, only when she checks this up. Like we say about the sorrows of Klipin, there you require soaking water, like the peels and the hairs. All these things, no difference whether she is not having a cycle right now, so she's pregnant, or nursing who's kano and past menopause, or a woman has normal menstrual periods. She's can't be lenient with women who presumably don't have a cycle. Say some because of makkah. Sometimes they also see blood. It's a chiddush to me. Okay, I stand pregnant and nursing, but menopausal. It brings down from the Beis Hill. Pass away halacha l'maisa. Lamed hey, maisa b'shachas shelo veskavos. A story with a certain woman had a set cycle. Ach shelo b'shas vesta, but not at a time of cycle. Some of the says abdika shefine abdika close. I know why she was trekking. Kratin adumim, red granules kachul shemachad like needle points. Of also krati and these granules mixasni v'lein ba'beged pishtan. Some of them get absorbed in a linen garment. Linen garment mixasni klatim in pishtan. Some of them are on top of the woolen, I guess, b'dika cloth. Not woolen, linen b'dika cloth. Minagah b'shas vesta, and her normal custom, so to speak, at the time she has a cycle, when the blood stops flowing, motza kamo shrias basar. She finds something like a piece of flesh. And then in this piece of flesh, there are a lot of these granules. And she says many times she feels pain in her kidneys. But for 9 weeks now, she hasn't felt any pain. She feels the pain in her stomach above that place. It seems as if something is moving back and forth. She finds its granules, sometimes with a pain, sometimes afterwards. She's assuming this is from the kidney sand. Because she has a pain. Perhaps she finds if Saka gave, sometimes his pain ceases. That's the way all wounds work. Sometimes the pain stops because the makum come, and nevertheless the makkah is in place. All the Gdalim reject this. Crazy Flacy, Poimiris, Tiferesmi, and others. The Rabbein Rama Loiti Rakma Meragline was only matter when it's in the urine, Moshe's bar. And these granules have the halacha of peels and hairs. If they get dissolved, she's tummy. Even the doctors say it's kidney sand and a double barley smoke and blishriya b'mayim. It's not clear that we should rely on them unless they soak in the water. And they dissolve tomato, she's tummy. Some poskim said you should strain the urine through a thin garment. If you find after straining the urine, these granules, yesh la'atir can be mati. There's the chachmei lisa and then you tinana. V'asu zekadinu sh'Rabbeinu Rama. They made this according to like the law of the Rama. Afalpi, even though she'elo kratim lo yuveis ha'ashtana, they were not there at the time of the urination. V'gam al zeh pikpiku ha'gdolim, the were dubious about this. So the ma'al zeh yesh is moshe asachak. This was asachak, however. Kagame with the soaps of an arrow, Shameragline, we do find that they're also in the urine. Because it indicates that there's sand in the kidneys. Why should we assume these also has to do with the sand in the kidneys? Argue whether pain is like a wound. Or the time she feels the pain itself, she finds something. Then we can say it's like a makam. There's no great evidence in finding something at the time of the pain. Agree with this. Therefore, these granules, at the time she actually has pain, because she finds these granules even in a bdika. Even without the urine. Without this, we can't. It's difficult to rely on the doctors below shria without soaking. Comes from the sides. They're small blood vessels, small sinews. The size of a hairbreadth. There's many sinews. When a woman has lots of blood, in her body. These sinews also come infused with blood. It must be small blood vessels, capillaries, not really sinews. She checks herself with an aid, and she presses against these capillaries. As they open up and they emit drops of blood or small granules. But without proof, should not rely on them. They should only say because they say there's just based on their hunch. It's possible to clarify this. By putting a deep wad inside. But here would start in Maginim and check on the sides with these blue capillaries and find blood after she puts the moch in. Now mochi and the moch stays clean. There's no greater proof to be matir. Anything similar as well. The general principle in all these matters, lots of stories in the chuvas. The main thing is not to deal with an isakaris by a hunch. Less explicit shulchan. Other case when they happen, you should only rely if there is an actual wound in because the bara, if you can clarify that by midwives and doctors that she has a wound there. Or they cave, or by a pain in b'shasa cave at the time of the pain, she finds the blood or the granules or the sand. If that, they should make the bdika with the moch. Like we said in Siv Chav Zayin, if the moch comes out clean, the wad inside, because clean, and the cloth from the outside is red, that's the definite proof. It's from the sides.